Well, good morning and welcome to the Car Guy. I'm your host, Klaus Kindor, and I'm here again with Gabe Tesch. Good morning, Gabe.
How's it going?
Good man. How are you?
I am living the dream.
You always do, pal. You always do. Gabe is a aspiring young race car driver here in Spokane who has done quite well. In fact, we've had you on the show a couple of times.
Yeah, this is actually my third time.
It's your
So,
third time. So we want to talk about how you did this year. And if I understand correctly, I think I do, you won 3 or 4 championships this year?
so this year I won tag senior championship regional level, and then I got third in a 206 championship, and then I got second in a national level championship.
Awesome.
So 3 championship podiums, and then 1 championship.
You seem to be moving up just a bit. Things seem to be getting a little bit better.
Yeah.
Are you getting faster, or what's changed? What's changing over the last couple of years? What's different?
Well, honestly, this season was my best. We um we were on the podium like every weekend. I mean, we were always fighting for top spot. And I actually this winter I went to a mindset coach, and this guy, his name is Jacques Delar,
Oh,
and
he's well known in the racing industry, isn't he?
yes, he's actually in the Motorsports Hall of Fame, and he was actually Ayrton Senna's mind coach, which is my racing hero.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I gotta meet this guy and I gotta sign up for this. So we did it, and we went through the program. And ever since that, I like tell my dad that I've gained like 2 seconds just by always having the right mindset. And that was a super big deal in my racing career because mindset is everything before hopping into a
How
fast race car.
Tell us how your coaching or your coach tell us about this mindset. What changed? What develops within you from his coaching that makes you even quicker and even better and perhaps more confident? Is that a good word?
Yeah, I mean, definitely confidence. I built up a lot of that over this mind coaching. You know, he has a saying, think like a champion. So honestly, it's kind of thinking, I mean, not having the ego, but thinking that, you can believe in yourself, like believing in your talent that you can be in the front. Also, not worrying about results or not letting that get to you and just focusing on the right thing at the right time, which is making perfect laps, perfect apex, and perfect braking, perfect throttle. And then just doing that the results will come to you. And it's also just knowing what you can control and what you can't control.
And I've noticed that the couple times that I went out to the local track and watched you race, it's the difference between this year and last year in your speed, particularly exit speed, is really really noticeable.
Yeah.
And there's also a difference in your entrance speed. You seem to be carrying the brakes a little bit later. In fact, a whole lot later. There should be a bumper sticker on the back of your go kart that says "Accelerate until you see God, then brake."
Yeah, I
Right?
know, definitely. That's a good one. I'm gonna get that made.
See, there you go. There you go. But I've noticed a big difference in your driving. It's really, it's not that you've necessarily become any more aggressive. I think you've just become a little bit more assertive.
Hmm.
There's a big difference between the two. But there's a noticeable difference in your speed. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's definitely just like it goes back to the mindset coaching. It's just focusing on the right thing at the right time because you get wrapped in the results, then you're not focusing on what you're supposed to be doing on track.
On what's right ahead of you, or
Yeah,
right in front of you, so to speak.
it's just bringing that like right amount of intensity, but also calmness, and that has definitely grown me as a driver a lot.
Yeah, yeah. You do you find yourself? Well, you just said it yourself. You're more calm in the car. You're not as intense,
Right.
if that makes sense, which makes
Mhm.
you faster,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, there's this my mind coach has this he has this like dial. It's kind of like a RPM dial, like a on the car, and it's about bringing the right amount of intensity, but also on the other dial bringing the right amount of calmness and balancing that out so you're calm but you're intense and focused. And once you find that sweet spot before hopping into any kind of vehicle, go-kart or car, then you know you're in like the perfect mindset and you can get the job
Yeah,
done.
I noticed a lot of race car drivers. In fact, if you get into the upper echelons of racing, IndyCar and Formula One, and maybe even a little NASCAR. Yeah, I know we're not fans. 2.5 hour left-hand turn. However,
Yeah,
Sunday's race was really interesting because it was done on a road. It was a part road course, and it was actually quite a good race, even though you
those
did.
are super cool, kind
Yeah,
of like
it was pretty
Daytona.
neat. It was
Yeah.
pretty neat. Yeah, I like that. But you see the really good drivers. They have a routine that they go through before they even climb in the car, and every weekend it seems to be about the same routine. Do you do the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, I have definitely a routine that I've stick to. I have this thing called my ACT model, and it's these words that describe me when I'm at my best. And so I think about those words and how I feel about those words, and that just definitely brings me peace, and it brings out the person who I am when I'm at my best on track. And that is kind of a routine I've gone through ever since this winter.
There's a confidence about you that I see this year when I went out to the local track and watched you run. That again, it's different than last year, and it's noticeable. It's real noticeable. One of the things I've always admired about you, and if you're thinking about becoming a race car driver, call this kid. I did it, and again, I wish I had your talent because I'd still be doing it. I just never had the ability that you have in a car. And if you're watching this show and if you're looking for a good corporate spokesman and you want to sponsor a kid in racing, this is the kid. The thing that has always surprised me about you is your ability to stay calm. That nothing really disturbs you much. Me as a race car driver didn't have that. Okay. I got the
Yeah,
red mist every now and then. And I
it's
don't think,
definitely super hard. It's one of the hardest things to do, but once you realize that you are not able to control the results, you can't control the future. The future's already set in place. Then you know that you're just gotta give it your best
yeah,
and see what happens.
yeah. So this year you did really, really well. But it's not over yet this year. I mean, your karting season's over, but I
Yes.
understand you're leaving Sunday for a pretty famous place.
Yeah, so this Sunday I'm actually leaving to Sebring, Florida for an F1600 test. Actually this summer I got selected to be one of the competitors in the Lucas Oil Carts to Cars shootout.
How cool is that?
Yeah. And so it's all the way down in Sebring, Florida. I have 2 test weekends, and then I have the race weekend. And top five gets a full ride for next year's bottom level of Road to Indy F1600
That
series.
is just amazing stuff. Now you're going to be climbing into a full-size race car for the first time and getting out of a go-kart, right?
Yeah.
And yet, a lot of your karting experience, some of it most certainly comes from two strokes, which are a lot quicker than four-stroke cars. They have horsepower to make up for some perhaps lack of ability, if for lack of better words, right? But you spent a lot of time in four-stroke cars, which are momentum karts. And I
Mhm.
think you're going to find, and I hope I'm right, that you're going to find getting into a big car is going to, the car's going to feel lethargic to you because you're accustomed to something much, much smaller. But Formula Fords are characteristically momentum type race cars.
Right, and
Um,
that's what we've kind of learned or learning right now. These F1600 cars are definitely a momentum car because they are low on horsepower. I mean, top speed's only like 135, 140. So I've actually been practicing in my four-stroke cart a lot because in that cart you can't make mistakes, and going in this car I know you can't make mistakes because it is low horsepower. So that's definitely a big thing to practice is little mistakes and momentum, which is huge. And we've learned that. I mean, hopping into a car, it's going to be slower, and especially this slow car, it's going to be all about momentum.
yeah. It's all about being smooth, about not losing momentum, is the deal really, right? Because if you
Hmm.
have to get on the brakes or you have to get off the throttle, it's hard to make that time back up.
Right.
And it's something I've never experienced. Well, maybe I have. I've driven some pretty slow cars, but you always want for more. You always want more horsepower.
Exactly.
What are your what are your apprehensions going into this weekend? Have you been to Sebring? Have you practiced? Do you have a program on your sim for Sebring?
Yeah, actually, on the racing simulator, they have Sebring and they have a car that's pretty close to the F1600 car. So I've been practicing a lot actually. Like I'll spend 3 hours on the sim sometimes a day. So I'm getting used to the track, but right now I don't really have any expectations just because it is my first it's my first step into a car, and I know there's a lot of people on the field that are very good drivers, and so I don't really have a good idea of like where I will be, or like I don't have any expectations, but I just know I'm gonna go there and just give it my all and see what happens. And I definitely know it'll be a good learning experience at the same time.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be. So your weekend, this weekend, is kind of something that you're doing on your own, that you and your dad have put together, or is this something that is in combination with this invite that you got from this?
It's yeah, it connects to the Lucas Oil invite. So I'll be with the Lucas Oil series, like with the team and everything, the people that run it, and I'll be training with them. And I bet there's gonna be probably a lot of the same drivers that I got invited to. So it all connects. But yeah, we kind of put this together. I mean, it wasn't like a have to kind of thing. It was just important for me to get testing before the big event.
Well, it makes all kinds of sense. I mean, you've never been to this racetrack, right?
Yeah.
The only thing you can experience is what you're able to get on your simulator. So I've always found that a sim and being on a sim and being on a racetrack are kind of different things.
Right,
They're
definitely.
close, but until you're really on the racetrack, on the asphalt, and you understand the idiosyncrasies of that particular track, you really don't feel it as much as you would in your simulator. I think you're going to do great. In fact, I was talking to a buddy of mine this morning. You know who I was talking to?
Hmm.
Ran Chip Ganassi's teams for a number of years. Max's comments were there's going to be a lot of people looking at you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he told me this morning when I told him you were going to Sebring. So I think it's a hell of an opportunity for you. I really, really do. I got a good fuzzy feeling about this weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing how well you do. This is cool. Gabe is an extraordinarily gifted young man, and I say that from more than just a couple of years of racing experience. I hope you do extraordinarily well. I hope you break records.
Thank you
I
so
hope you
much.
embarrass people badly. I really, really, truly do. And if you're a company here in Spokane and you're doing pretty well and you want to get some exposure, I would strongly suggest you sit down with this young man and think about throwing a couple dollars his way and get him some sponsorship money. Racing is terribly expensive. It's terribly expensive,
Yeah,
far
that's
more than
such
it
a
was.
big part.
Oh, so much more than it was when I was competing. I really wish you the best of luck, and go get them.
Yeah, thank you so
My
much.
pleasure. Thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, I always have a blast on this show.
Good deal. Good deal. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.